Hi. Nope. Ah, I can't hear you. Oh, why?
Maybe
Oh, I
no.
can hear you. Yeah. Oh, no, you're gone.
Claudia's joining.
Got you again.
um,
Okay.
now can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then this is all in my AirPods now. Cool. Cool. Yeah. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Uh, before anyone comes on, I'm feeling weird.
Really?
Yeah, I just feel weird. And last night I was feeling really weird. I was sitting out and watching the stars, and I just felt strange.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of big stuff happening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And like, I think everything that's going on is so much more than like the coronavirus. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's so many shifts happening. And like, I don't know. I'm definitely in the belief that something pretty radical will happen in the next 6 months, but I don't know what that would look like. It just feels that way to me.
Yeah. I feel like that too. It's like something is getting ready to happen. Something is happening. Things are
Yeah,
happening. Big things are happening.
big things are happening. And like to me, it feels kind of biblical in a lot of ways,
Yes. I would
which,
not consider myself the most. I've just gotten so spiritual. And there's something
yeah,
has kicked in
yeah,
um, that I wasn't necessarily. Yeah, there's something kind of like an innate something, intelligence that is
yeah.
coming out.
So Claudia is joining. Maybe we can talk on the phone about this because I definitely feel similarly. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna let her in now. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
And like I just feel like we're kind of on the cusp or on the verge of something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Mhm.
How are you?
Good morning.
So are you wearing your brace today on your
Oh,
wrist? It's off?
it's gone.
Cool. So maybe if we're doing chaturanga on the ground, you can do it against the wall. I heard you saying that to Luke, and I know it
Oh,
might be awkward to walk over, but that would probably help to take some of the pressure off, as well as allowing you to do some physical therapy for your wrist.
yeah, that's what I love that idea. I'll do that. Maybe not every time because I'll go back to dolphin or something, but yeah,
Okay,
that's
cool.
great.
Yeah, just know that that's always an option for you.
Yeah, that's great. I think I'll put it in the chair. Yeah, I'm so excited. He was so happy.
That's
I'm excited.
great.
I'll go back in
Definitely
mute.
a relief. No, you're okay. We still have a few minutes.
Okay.
Oh no. Kay said that she has some sort of respiratory illness and is getting tested for COVID. So she's gonna take it easy today.
Does she
That
work in a
makes sense.
or is she in a
She's
teaching?
in grad school. So I think she does, a lot of grad school students will teach as well, like assist in classes, but then also attend classes.
Yeah.
So I think she's in the school system a lot, basically.
Okay.
And I think she's studying something with psychology.
Cool.
Um, But yeah, I'm not too sure. I know she's back and forth between Nashville and Atlanta.
Nashville. Wow.
Yeah, Nashville is cool.
Is it?
Yeah,
America is so, it's almost, I don't know. I've never been, but it's like, I don't know. It's just a funny thing to think about. I don't know why.
yeah,
It's almost like,
yeah. It's so big,
yeah.
especially like compared to so many other places. Like in Europe, it's like, oh, I'll just take a train to wherever, and it's 3 hours. But here, like, to drive back to Atlanta from where I am, it's like 4.5 to 5 hours.
You can get from one side of the island to the other in
Yeah,
4 hours.
yeah, it's so funny. I'm pretty sure the state of Georgia is smaller or bigger than the whole country of Ireland.
And it's funny though, because you know, you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, no, I grew up on a tiny ass island. Tiny where, and I think it definitely impacts how people think and socialize and how we, you know, the clanism and stuff like that. It's
Definitely. I mean, I feel like in Ireland too, everyone knows each other.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you'd meet an Irish person. I've met Irish people like when I was in Australia, and you'd be like, where are you from? You know, and you'd have some kind of connection. Oh, my cousin lives in that town. Oh, and they
Yeah,
you know, we went to some town in Australia and we bumped into a guy and he was doing his farm work with Dara's cousin.
that is so funny. Yeah, even like Blonde, for instance, I was telling her about that guy in Cork who I
Yeah,
studied with in Sweden, and she like told her boyfriend about it, and he already knew about like this guy. He already knew about where it was because he
yeah,
like spent a lot of time in Cork, and it's just so funny that everybody knows everything.
yeah. Yeah, you can't get away with much.
Um, I think it's awesome though. But I did just send a playlist in the link. So let me know if y'all get that, and then we can go ahead and get started. And if I see anybody else pop in, I'll let them in. But Wednesdays are usually pretty light. So it starts with the song Sweet River. Maybe we can sync that together in 3, 2, 1. And then I wanted to start today's class just in a seat, just to do some simple breath awareness. I definitely am feeling lower energy today. So if you guys have any specific feelings physically that you have, feel free to share before we get started. If you've already muted yourself, that's fine. You can just go ahead and begin. So just come to a seat and close down through the eyes. And just take a moment to lengthen through the spine so you can shift from side to side, sort of really making sure that you can root down through the sit bones. You can soften the shoulders down and away from the ears and try to create this feeling of suspension from the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. So it might just feel like you're creating space in between your vertebrae. And from this space, start to relax the belly. So notice if it's tense and drawing in and up towards the spine. Try to soften the pelvic floor area and allow the belly to bloatate out, just like a baby's belly would. So the breathing is soft, deep into the area below the belly. And with the exhale, try to breathe out through the tailbone. So just find this deep rhythm of the breath this morning. Inhaling down to the belly button, exhaling out of the tailbone as if you can imagine your sacrum opening up with every breath out. And just continue this deeper directed breathing for a few rounds, unguided. And then start to bring the hands together at the heart center. And just take a moment to concentrate all of your awareness in the palms of the hands so you can feel the right hand meeting the left hand at the center of the body. And tomorrow is our new moon. So traditionally in a lot of hatha practices, the new moon and the full moon are rest days. So I kind of want to keep that in mind today and move a little gently and honoring this period of rest, because that's what we do with the new moon. We take the time to reflect back and to look forward. So that being said, if there are any intentions that you're working with in your yoga practice and in life at large, the new moon is a really good time to set and honor intentions that can ride you through for this whole lunar cycle. So for the next 28 days, just take a few moments to bring something to mind and try to create a short and positive affirmation. If nothing comes to mind, then you can just use the simple mantra of I am here now. And just repeat it to yourself a few times. And then start to blink open the eyes, release the fingers down by your side. And as you inhale, move with the breath, reach the fingers up overhead. And as you exhale, start to bring the hands forward and through, just down to the ground in front of you, and you can walk the fingers forward. So you're allowed to come as deep as feels good. You can just stay here with the arms lengthened, sort of pulling the heart forward. Or if you have the space in your body and it feels good, then you can drop to the forearms, or maybe even you release your forehead down to the ground. Just be mindful of the body. So if something doesn't feel good, if you're creating extreme sensations of stretch, then you can just back off a little bit. So find a space where you can still use your breath as a tool to find depth in the posture, but not as a position that's creating unnecessary tension in the body or the mind. And just take one more breath in here. And then inhale on the next breath, start to walk the hands back in towards the chest. Bring the hands to the knees and really lift the chest, lift the gaze. And then as you exhale, round the spine. So try to curl the belly button in and up towards the navel. And just move with your breath. So inhale, pull the chest through, broaden across the front of the heart. And then as you exhale, draw the belly button towards the wall behind you and cave the chest forward, so you're opening the skin behind the heart. And just do that a few more times. Inhale forward and exhale back. Chin might drop in towards the chest. And then come back to a neutral spine and drop the chin down towards the chest. And just take a moment to breathe and lengthen through the back of the neck. And with your next inhale, gently start to roll the left ear towards the left shoulder. Be mindful of the neck, so notice if you're carrying some tension from maybe the night behind you. And then roll the chin back through the center and circle the right ear over towards the right shoulder. And now you can just sort of oscillate back and forth from the left ear to the right ear. You can draw the chin closer towards that shoulder and explore different areas of stretching through the neck. And just moving gently and with complete awareness of the weight of the head. Maybe the next time the left ear reaches the left shoulder, you can drop the head back behind you and find a complete circle. If the neck feels nice doing that. If it doesn't, then just continue moving from side to side. And the next time the chin reaches the chest, start to reverse the direction of that circle. So the right ear rolls towards the right shoulder, and maybe you roll all the way around. And again, feel free to spend any extra time in any area that you might be needing it this morning. And the next time the chin reaches the chest, just take a moment and pause there at center. And then look forward, circle through the shoulders, and start to extend the legs out in front of you. And like I said, I just kind of want to be gentle with the body this morning to start. So start to draw this left ankle just above the right knee, and take your fingers and interlace all of the fingers in between the toes. So it's like you're holding hands with your toes. And first, just take a moment to see how this feels. Sometimes, especially if we wear a lot of heels, if we're wearing shoes all day, our feet can be quite tense, but the feet are the foundation for all of the standing postures. So it's quite important to have some mobility through the feet. And maybe here you start to just give yourself a massage. Self-love is always important to prioritize. So you can massage from the heel of the foot along the arch of the foot to the big toe mound. And maybe you start to explore different areas with your thumbs, just what feels nice this morning, and sort of feeling just grateful for your body, for the ability to move so freely. And then start to bring your right thumb to the big toe mound and your left hand to the heel, and start to press the heel and the toe mound in opposite directions as if you were wringing out a dirty sponge. And then just do that to the other side too. So you're sort of wringing the heel and the toes in opposite directions. Imagine like you're wringing out a t-shirt or doing tie-dye or something. So you should feel this primarily through the arch of the foot. And then come back to center, and just like you're flicking water off of the toes, completely relax through the ankles and the toes. So the movement is coming more from the wrist. And it's like you're flicking out any sort of tension. And then start to find these big circles. So again, you're completely soft through the ankle, through the toes, through the arch of the foot. And this movement is coming more from the arm that's connected to the foot now. And then start to reverse that circle in the other direction. Good. And then just find stillness, release the hands, and extend that foot long. And just take a moment, close the eyes, and immediately notice any differences between the two sides of the feet. Maybe one feels a little more loosened and one might feel a little more tense. And then when you're ready, open the eyes and start to move to the other side. So the left ankle comes just above, the right ankle comes above the left knee. And just interlace the fingers with your foot. And immediately notice any differences. Maybe this side is a little more tense, and you can come into that little massage for yourself, for your arch of your foot, the toe mound and the heel, and just feeling your foundation this morning. Good. And then bring the right hand to the heel and the left hand to the toe mound, and start to wring out the toes. So you're pressing the toe mound forward while pressing the heel back, and then alternating that movement. So like you're just wringing out something, a sponge, a t-shirt, to get a visualization to connect to the movement. And then come to neutral and start to sort of flick water away from the toe, out of the wrist, completely soften. So there's no engagement through the foot. This movement is just coming from the wrist. Good. And then come back to stillness and start to find these big circles with the toes. So you can feel a rolling through the ankle, through the foot. And then just take that in the other direction too. Good. And then just start to extend both legs forward, maybe point the toes and flex the toes back. And then we'll make our way into a tabletop. So you can cross at the ankles and roll over the knees and plant the hands. If there's a better way for you to get there, feel free to take yourself there. And we'll just start to find these cat and cows, but first find a neutral spine. Press to the hands and start the movement from the tailbone. Tip up to the ceiling, drop the belly, and lift the gaze. And then move slowly here. Start to slowly tuck the tailbone under, round the spine, and look back to the belly button. And then move with your breath. You might allow these movements to get a little bigger, a little more organic and free. or they might just be forward and back. So allow this practice to be what it wants to be today. That might mean bigger movements or smaller movements. It often depends on the energy levels that you might have. And then come back to a neutral spine and start to walk the hands forward just before the shoulders. Shift the weight over the fingertips. So you're in more of a supported plank now. And lower all the way down to the belly and walk the elbows forward and through. So they're just forward of the shoulders. And you can flex through the wrists and find these like fighting cobra hands. You can roll out through the wrists, maybe release one finger at a time. Maybe you look up and look down so you can find some movement through the neck as well as the hands. And start to release the fingertips down towards the ground and lower all the way to the belly. Bring the hands back by the rib cage, tuck the toes under, and lift the belly button from the ground first. So you just feel this deep core engagement, and then press to the hands, and then tuck the toes and come to downward facing dog. So just take a moment in your downward facing dog to pedal through the heels, to bend one leg and straighten one leg. You can really press into the hands to press the ground away. So you're engaging through the shoulders. And just take a moment to breathe through the body, to feel into the most physical posture we've taken so far. And notice how you're doing today. What are your energy levels? And then look to the space in between the hands and slowly start to tiptoe your way to the top. Once you arrive, you can take the feet wider than the hips or hip distance. Bend the knees as much as you need to, and just allow everything to cascade over the thighs. So bend the knees as much as you need to. Maybe you grab opposite shoulders here and just gently roll the belly button from one wall and then to the other, sort of swaying through the torso. And come back through center and shake the head no, shake the head yes, and start to create a circle with the tip of the nose. So you feel the neck just gently moving, and take it in the other direction too. And release the hands down to the ground and inhale, find a halfway lift. So lengthen the belly button forward, look forward, spine's long. And then exhale, fold. And then really allow the shoulders to feel heavy, the top of the head to feel heavy. Release the upper back. And slowly, slowly start to tilt the top of the hips up and allow the spine to start stacking vertebra by vertebra. And just be mindful the neck and the head, the shoulders are still heavy. They're just rounding forward until it's their time to start to engage and stack over the body. And then look down to the feet, spread the toes wide, and grip with the toes. And inhale the fingers to the sides and up overhead. Look up and reach up. So really allow the shoulders to lift up towards the fingertips. And then exhale the hands through the center. Start to bring the backs of the hands to touch just in front of the pubic bone. And as you inhale, lift the belly forward and up. Allow that to unfold the front seam of the body until the gaze lifts. And then exhale, reach to the sides and down. So follow with your eyes. Circle the hands around so the backs of the hands meet. And inhale, lift the front of the chest and the gaze up to Urdhva Hastasana. And then we'll just find some fluidity here. And try to unclench the jaw. Try to be free in the belly. And then the next time you reach up, pause there. So you can stay here, just continuing to actively reach up. So the shoulders draw towards the ceiling, or maybe you come up onto the heels of the feet. And you can stay here, just lengthening up. Or you can release the heels down. You can lengthen the heels up. Maybe if it's there for you and if it feels good today, you can bend the knees. Try to keep the shoulders stacked over the hips, and then pressing the sit bones forward. Use that strength to come back up to standing. And then release the heels down. Open the hands to the sides, and this time circle the wrists around so you're flexing through the backs of the wrists, but you're opening across the upper part of the back. So in this posture, we're pressing our sit bones forward, and we're trying to round our spine forward as if we wanted to connect the pubic bone to the sternum. And take a deep breath here. Breathe to the skin behind the heart. And maybe you do the same thing. Maybe you can come up onto the toes. You're welcome to stay here, or if it's something that feels nice for you today, you can bend the knees. You can come just here, or you can come down as far as you want. So be mindful of what feels good and what doesn't. Release the heels down and start to open the chest and reach back behind you. So allow the fingers to sort of flex back, press through the palms of the hands, lift the heart up, lift the gaze just slightly. And same thing here, you can come up onto the toes, continue pressing the sit bones forward, and you can bend the knees or keep the legs straight and sink a little lower, and then release the hands down. Spin the fingers towards the ceiling, draw the fingertips in towards the collarbones, and release the backs of the hands to meet. Inhale, reach up overhead, look up, and then release the hands down. Circle the backs of the wrists together, and let's just do that again. Inhale, the fingers reach up towards the ceiling. You can stay here, or you can lift the heels and explore some depth through the hips. And then release the hands down. Start to circle the wrists forward. Flex through the backs of the wrists. You can stay there, or you can find some movement. Release the heels down. Start to open the chest, the hands back towards the wall behind you. Lift the heart up. Come up onto the heels. Bend the knees and sink the hips low. Then inhale, straighten. Move the fingers up. So this is our nerve tensioning to start the practice. And then exhale the hands back towards the center. So just take a moment to pause here. The fingertips gently apart, the elbows just flaring. And take a moment to imagine that you're in water. So like you have that bobbing sensation, everything is light. It lifts easily and fluidly. And then just start the movement from the belly button. So imagine your belly button is lengthening towards one shoulder, lengthening this whole side of the body. And then come back through the center. And then do the same on the other side. So just the belly lifts up towards the other shoulder now through the side of the body, and then comes back through the center. And then just the belly starts to twist back behind you. So you're opening the chest to one side of the room, and then roll back through the center. And then just the belly twists to the other side, and then come back to the center. So let's make those movements a little bit bigger. Start to reach the belly button towards one shoulder. Then that elbow comes up, the fingertips just gently apart. Open the hands, and then maybe you shift the weight and start to lengthen through the whole side body. So you're really actively reaching up and really actively reaching down. You can take the gaze up towards the top fingers and really just feel into this whole lateral seam of the body. And then to come out of this, we roll the spine forward. Keep lengthening through the top arm until both hands reach up towards the ceiling. And then exhale the hands back through the center. So then do that on the other side. So the belly button draws up towards the left shoulder, fingertips gently apart. Open the hands and then shift the hips. So this foot is carrying virtually no weight whatsoever. The gaze can be forward or down towards the bottom foot. Just continue reaching the shoulders apart from one another, the hands in opposite directions. Take a breath in, breathe through this whole extended side seam of the body. And then roll the belly button forward, round the spine, and reach the hands up towards the ceiling. And then exhale the hands back through the center. So the fingers are just gently apart, starting from the core, twisting open to one side. And then the hands and the shoulders are the last thing to open up. Take the gaze forward. So notice if this hip wants to open up behind you, try to square it forward, press the hands apart. So the shoulders are drawing in different directions. And this twist is isolated to the spine. Take a breath in here. Maybe you can move the shoulders, check in to see that they're not tense. And then slowly hug this back hand forward and around. And as you inhale, pull the elbows back behind you so you're opening the chest. And then release the hands down and round the spine forward so you're coming back to this starting position. So same thing here. The spine spirals up and twists towards one side. The hands open last. Take the gaze forward. Check in with your hips. Did it open up? Or are you good at keeping them square to the front of the room? And just take a moment here to breathe to the belly. See that your shoulders are reaching away from one another but are not overly tense. Take one more breath in here. And then hug this back arm in and around. And we'll do the same thing. Open the elbows to the sides. So you're opening the chest. And then press the hands forward around the spine. So let's do that spinal movement one more time, a little bit faster. So inhale, reach one elbow up. Open through the side of the body, reach up and down through the fingers, and then roll forward and up to come out. And one more time, just like that. Open the hands apart, shift the weight, and then roll forward and up. So these are our spinal movements. We do them to warm up the spine. And then twist to one side, open the hands last, gazes forward. And maybe you allow the hips to open and you twist deeper around yourself, like a tornado spiraling around. And then hug the back hand forward and through. Inhale, open the chest and round the spine forward. And we'll do that to the other side. So look back over the back shoulder and then hug this back arm forward and around. Inhale the elbows up to the ceiling, the fingers up towards the ceiling this time, and start to round the spine and roll forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, and then exhale, fold. Plant the hands and start to step the right foot back into the air. So the hands almost have no weight here. And then lower down to a runner's lunge for 3, 2, 1. The toes come to the ground. The heel is stacked over the ankle. And as you inhale, start to sink the hips and pull the chest forward and through. And then as you exhale, round the spine over this front thigh, like you're trying to do a cow pose over the leg. And then start to inhale, reach the fingers up towards the ceiling. Look up. So this is a crescent warrior. And you can really scissor the outer hips together, reach up through the fingertips so the shoulders are drawing up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. And then exhale, start to fold forward. Plant the hands on the ground and step back to a plank. You can drop the knees to the ground. We'll lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes. Keep the hands by the rib cage. And as you breathe in, press to the tops of the feet, lift the chest for baby cobra. And then exhale, lower down. And we'll do that twice more. Inhale, lift the chest. Maybe the hands hover. Exhale, lower down. And one more time, just like that. And then press to the hands and make your way back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment to use this to feel into the body, to notice if you can already feel a sensation of heat swirling on the surface of the skin. Take one more breath in and out. And start to step just the right foot forward.
Spin the left heel down to the ground. So you have more of a warrior one stance through the legs. And do the same thing here. Start to round the spine over this front thigh. So the forehead touches the front knee and the navel really draws in and up towards the spine. And then keeping this strength through the legs, start to hover the fingers to the sides and up overhead until you come up into a warrior one. So in your warrior one, it's like you have headlights on the front of the hips and you want them to both face forward. The fingers can meet overhead with the palms together. If that's not comfortable for your shoulders, then you can have them shoulder distance apart. And the gaze can be forward if it's not comfortable towards the ceiling. Take one more breath in here. Exhale, soften. And start to fold forward. Release just the fingers to the ground and get light on the left toes. Reach the heel up towards the ceiling and then draw the knee towards the nose, and with control, step the left foot down to hip distance apart. Inhale, belly button draws forward and up. Exhale, fold. And we'll just do that on the other side. So starting with the left foot, reach it back up into the air. And then lowering down to runner's lunge for 3, 2, 1. Start to sink the hips, pull the heart through, inhale. And then as you exhale, round the spine over this front thigh. Backs of the hands touch. Inhale the fingers up for crescent warrior. Reach up through the fingers. And then exhale, start to fold forward, plant through the hands, dome the upper back, and with control, step the right foot back towards the left. And you can sink back towards the child's pose. You can hover the knees if that's more active for you. And then as you inhale, we'll make our way to plank. Start to lift the lower back, the middle back, and then the upper back forward and over the wrists. You're welcome to keep the knees down. And we'll lower all the way down to our belly. Toes untuck. Inhale, lift the chest, maybe hover the hands. Exhale, lower. And we'll do that twice more. Inhale and exhale. One more time. And then press to the hands, tuck the toes with the belly button first. And then come back to downward facing dog. And just use your dog to check in again. How are you doing? Take one more breath in here. And then step the left foot forward. Spin the right heel down to the ground this time. And start to round the spine over this front thigh so the forehead draws towards the knee. And really press back to the pinky toe edge of the back toe. And as you inhale, reach to the sides and up. So we're setting up our foundation before we extend up towards the ceiling. And really allow the shoulders to reach up towards the direction that the fingers are reaching in. Use the breath to soften into the body. And release tension with the breath out. Take one more breath in. And with the breath out, start to fold forward over the legs, release the fingers to the ground, and start to lift the back heel into the air. Only to draw the knee towards the nose with control and step the right foot down to the ground. Inhale, find a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, reach to the sides and up overhead. And then exhale the hands through the center. Now, so start to bring the hands so the palms face up and you're sort of rounding the spine forward. And then press the belly button through. And as you do that, twist the fingers up towards the ceiling. So we're gonna come through this sort of spiraling movement. So the spine rounds forward, lift the front, open the shoulders. And just find this rhythm. This is something that we find in pretty much all yoga synergy classes.
And one thing that can help, so you can start with the movements and making them small. Maybe you come to the center of your chest and just draw the fingers in one at a time. And just feel it through the wrists. And then you allow those movements to get bigger and bigger. So you feel it through the shoulders, through the chest, starting with the fingers. So when we find fluidity like this, we're releasing the tension that we get from texting, from typing, from using our car, from navigating life in 2020. And keep in mind that you're in your room by yourself, so it's kind of fun to release the judgment of the outside world. And then come to one toe, so you're bending the knee, and find this movement so you're folding over that leg and then opening up. And the next time you fold forward, you can start to draw that knee in towards the chest. So you're really rounding the spine and rounding over this leg in the air. And then you can release the toes down and straighten the leg, open the chest, reach the fingers out, lift from the inner thigh. So try to engage the inner thigh up towards the ceiling till maybe the toes hover from the ground. Then flex the toes, circle the wrists around, and release both feet to the ground. And come straight away back into this movement. Come to the other toes. And we'll find this movement over the leg. And the next time you fold forward, you can hug the knee in towards the chest. And really allow the spine to round, elbows reach out. And then you can reach the toes forward, circle the chest, the wrists open and back. Lift from the inner seam of the thigh here. You can start to hover the toes. You're welcome to keep the foot on the ground. And then flex through the wrists, the foot, and come back to center. And just find some movement here, continuing this pattern. And start to lift this foot from the ground and just step the foot back behind you. Continue this movement through the hands. So you have more of warrior 2 feet. And you can bend and straighten the legs. So here you might feel a little bit more opening through the hips. Try to keep the shoulders over the hips the whole time. And then start to reach forward, shift the weight to this front foot, lift the back toes and come into a runner's lunge. So we're just coming through these gentle movements, flowing like we're in water or dancing with one another through this digital layer of reality. And then the next time you reach up, keep the warrior 2, the crescent leg, so this front knee is bent, and start to reach the hands to the outside of this front leg, and then reach the opposite hand up. So you're lengthening the whole front of the body all the way up to the fingertips. And then circle this bottom hand forward and around. Spin on the back toe and sink the hips back. So you're sort of feeling all through this leg. And then shift forward into the foot and draw the toes in. So we're twisting, try to draw this bottom hand underneath. And then this back leg, turn around, try to draw the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. So you can stay here with the toes on the ground, or you can start to hover the toes just a few inches and try to breathe to the sacrum. Try to breathe to the lower back. Take one more breath in here. And then start to step this left toe forward. So you're bending the knee, you still have the twist through the upper body, and start to open.
So you're now sort of lengthening through this side of the body. This is the opposite side from the knee that's bent. And you can draw this knee in towards the chest just for a moment, and then start to bring the knee so it's in line with the standing knee. Flex through the foot, and like you're trying to press back into a wall, so you're lengthening through this hip flexor. Continue pressing that top elbow up and pressing these fingers down. Stay here or start to tilt the heart forward. Try to stay lengthened through the lower back. And then inhale, come back upright. Release the toes to the ground and cross one arm so you're reaching for the opposite shoulders. Draw this knee up as high as you can, and moving through the air, step the foot back, straighten both legs, extend the arms out. So try to rotate both thighs towards the front of the mat. Reach down towards this front ankle, and then open from the belly and reach the top arm up towards the ceiling. So you're coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. And just take a moment to try to breathe to the belly wherever you are. Try to really reach up through the top hands so you feel the whole right side of my body, it might be your right, relaxed. Take one more breath in and out. And then look down to the bottom foot, press through that heel and start to stack the shoulders over the hips. And now with this front hand, I want you to start lengthening the fingers as far forward as you can. And with the back hand, make a fist. So just feel this little conflicting energy of the reaching forward through the fingers and the fist, how it sort of stops the energetic movement. And then twisting from the belly, take the fist forward towards this front leg and continue reaching up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into a revolved Trikonasana. You're welcome to take this hand to the shin, to the calf. You can micro bend the knees. You never have to lock anything straight. And the gaze might be up towards the top hand. Take one more breath in here. And then with an inhale, start to spiral up and back so the shoulders are over the hips. And start to bend these fingers towards the front collarbone and lift the elbow up. So you'll start to shift your weight to the front foot and drag these back fingers in. You can stay here, just lengthening through the side of the body. If it's something that would feel good to you, you can start to hover that foot in the air, still reach up with the elbow. Take a breath in. And then gently release the toes back to the ground. Spin on the toes so the chest comes forward, the hips face forward. And you can stay here with the toes on the ground, or you can hover the back foot into the air so you're coming into a warrior three. And we'll just spend a few moments there, really press through your standing leg. And then draw the knee in towards the chest. You can step to the toes first, or you can just draw everything in. Try to curl up into a little cannonball, and then release both feet to the ground. And just come into this fluid movement again, this synergy spinal movement. And we'll just do that on the other side. So when you're ready, start to lift the other foot into the air. And you can step back behind you and just straight away come through this movement, keeping this fluid spinal movement through the hands, trying to keep the shoulders over the hips, but allowing the knees to bend and straighten. And the next time you come forward, get really light on the back foot and then step it down to a crescent warrior. And allow the knees to bend and straighten. And then start to reach the hands to the outside of the front hip, the foot that's forward. and reach the same arm forward. So you're lengthening all the way down to the back foot. And then hover this hand forward and around. Spin on the back heel. So now you're sort of stretching back while stretching the front leg. And look forward to the front foot. And very lightly slide the toes forward, square the hips forward. So reach under with this bottom hand, like you're twisting your chest towards the direction of the bottom fingers. And then try to square the hips forward. So you're creating this wringing out sensation through the body. Maybe your toes stay there, or maybe you start to gently hover them from the ground. Try to breathe to the sacral area. Use your breath to soften the lower back. Let the belly bloatate if it's tense. Then you can release the toes down to the ground and just gently start to step the toes forward so the knees bend. And from here, you can start to open up. So you're sort of switching the arms. They're opening up. This front elbow now reaches up towards the ceiling. And you can lift this bent knee from the ground and then draw the knee in line with the standing knee. Press back through the foot so you feel an opening through the hip flexor. And then if that's okay and you want more, you can start to fold forward. And then start to draw this toe back to the ground and reach for the opposite shoulders. Give yourself a little hug. Draw the knee in towards the chest and then unwind in the air and step back to Trikonasana legs. Open the arms out towards the side and start to square the hips and thighs towards the front foot. Bring both hands down to the front ankle and then unravel the spine and reach the top hand up towards the ceiling. And this pose is more familiar than a lot of the ones we've been moving through. So really use it as a moment to drop into a state of presence again with the practice. Sometimes new movements can send our mind through a loop. Take one more breath in. And look down to the bottom foot. Press through that front heel and stack the shoulders upright. And make a fist with this back hand. Reach forward through the front fingers. Twist from the core and bring the fist down to the front shin or calf. And then reach up through the other hand. Try to bring the thumb so it's just over the mouth. The shoulders are stacked, and this is a spinal twist. Take one more breath in. And then with the inhale, ride the breath all the way up to standing, so the shoulders stack. Start to flex this front hand forward, so it's reaching towards the collarbone. The elbow extends forward. And you can slide just lightly on the toes, really lengthen through the whole side of the body here. So you can stay here, or if it's okay for you, you can hover the back toes, continue reaching up with the elbow, lengthening through the whole side of the body. Take one more breath in. And then start to release the back toes to the ground. Pivot on the toes so the hips, the chest, all face forward and square to the ground. Stay here, or you can start to hover the back toes in the air for a warrior three. Take one more breath in. And then start to draw the knee in towards the chest. You can come to the toes, or straight away the knee can come to the chest and just round over these legs. And then release both feet to the ground. And start to find this movement one more time. So you might allow it to get bigger and bigger, like you fold forward all the way, and then reach up towards the ceiling. And the next time you fold forward, stay in your forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine forward. And then exhale, plant the hands and step back to a plank. We'll lower all the way down to our belly. So you can shift forward and lower slowly for a count of 3, 2, 1, release down. Tops of the feet are on the earth. Inhale, lift the chest away from the ground. Exhale, lower down. And then start to reach the fingers back by the hips. And just take a breath in and out on the ground, everything soft to the earth. And on your next inhale, lift the feet, the fingers, and the chest for Shalavasana. Really lift from the inner edge of the thighs. And try to breathe to the belly. Take one more breath in here, find a little bit higher, and then exhale, lower down. Release the left cheek to the ground. Allow the tops of the hands to the palm of the hands to face up towards the ceiling. And you can just gently sway the hips from side to side. Let go of any tension from the lower back. And we'll just do that one more time. So when you're ready, bring the chin to face the earth. And bring the palms to face down. And as you inhale, lift the feet, the hands, and the chest up for Shalavasana. Take one more breath in and out. Exhale, lower down. Press to the hands and draw the sit bones back to the heels for a child's pose. And in this child's pose, you can reach forward or the hands can come back towards the heels. And you can just curl up into a tiny little ball. And take a moment to feel the size of your body just sitting and living on the surface of the earth. Take one more breath in here. And on the next inhale, start to stand on the knees. So you're coming towards kneeling, stacked all the way up on the knees. And you can tuck the toes under. So you can maybe check to see that all 10 toes have been tucked. And we'll just do 2 rounds of camel posture here. So let's start with one variation where we bring our hands to our lower back, have the fingertips facing down and the thumbs to the side, and then try to draw the elbows together behind the back. Lift the heart up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, start to lean back like you're pole vaulting over something. So the hips press forward, the heart lifts, but you're arching the back. Take one more breath in. And with an inhale, move from the core to stack the shoulders upright. And you can sit back onto the heels of the feet for a moment. Just close the eyes. And feel the heart. Back bending can be better than coffee in terms of the energy that it gives you. And just take one more breath here. And then inhale, start to stand up onto the knees. So you can take that version we just took with the hands on the lower back, or if it's something that feels good, you can reach for the backs of the heels and do the same thing, press the hips forward, lift the heart up, and then maybe you allow the top of the head to soften back behind you. Take one more breath in here. And then to make your way out, use the muscles of your core to stack everything over the knees and then sit down onto the heels and close the eyes for a moment. And just feel what's circulating inside of your body. And then start to open the eyes, walk the hands forward. We're making our way down to our seat. So if it's more comfortable for you to sit down, I'm going to come through downward facing dog, walk my feet forward to cross at the ankles and lower my seat down. So that if there's a better way for you to come here, then feel free to do that. And once you arrive, just extend the legs to straight.
Inhale the fingers up towards the ceiling and fold over the legs. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. Just take a moment to soften the forehead down to the knees. Allow your breath to be deep in the belly. Take one more breath there. And then inhale, start to lengthen the spine forward. Bring the soles of the feet to the ground and move towards the top of the mat. Reach the fingers forward and start to lower the spine all the way down. And once you arrive on your back, the soles of the feet can touch and the knees can go to the side for Supta Baddha Konasana. And maybe one hand finds the belly and one hand finds the heart. And just take a moment to allow the breath to settle down into this relaxed rhythm. Take one more breath here. And then one by one, start to straighten the legs out. You could release the hands to your side with the palms facing up and come into your Shavasana. So allow yourself to be heavy on the ground here. The feet can angle out to different sides of the room. Try to relax all the muscles in the fingers and in the hands. Let go of the core if you're still holding on to it. Try to release the belly so the breath can move deeply. And then unclench the jaw. Notice if the tongue is pressing up into the roof of the mouth, and just try to relax and soften it down into the base of the jaw. Release the muscles of the lips, of the cheeks, of the eyes, and the forehead. And just give yourself this space to fully relax and surrender into the ground for your Shavasana. And just start to become aware of your breathing again. Notice if it's deeper than it was when you started, or if it's the same. And just take a big, deep breath in from the belly all the way to the chest. Inhale. And then sigh it out with an open mouth. And just take two more like that. Breathe in deeply. Sigh it out. And start to bring some small movements into the toes and the fingers. You can allow those movements to get bigger. Maybe you reach up overhead. One by one, you can place the soles of the feet onto the ground and press the lower back into the earth. And then roll off to whichever side is calling you for your fetal posture. And then when you're ready, just keep this soft awareness and press up to a seat. So the spine is stacked and lengthened. The mind is hopefully a little softer. And then start to bring the hands together at the heart center. And just remind yourself of whatever your intention was at the start of the class. See if that's something you're ready to let go of, or maybe it's something you want to carry with you into the rest of the day. And let's just seal our class with the sound of Om. You can join or you can listen. Take a deep breath in to clear. And take an inhale to chant. And bow your heart forward, bow the head to the heart. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Namaste. So feel free to say something if you have any questions or feedback. And Mary must have dropped out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I don't know what happened, but you're stuck in the in a child pose. So when you were doing just thought I'd tell you, when you got to camel,
Yes.
I could not see you anymore. I mean, it was like it was maybe like I mean, you're frozen on this on my screen anyway. I don't know about anybody else's, but I could hear you.
Anne-Marie dropped out, so that might. Let me see if she texted me. It might have been my Wi-Fi. So that's good to know.
I think maybe because you're still in a child pose.
Okay, I'm still right now.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
But you could hear me the whole time.
Yeah, the sound was fine.
Huh.
The sound was fine. And it was a great class. My goodness. I feel like I got such a workout with this.
Yeah. Do you know why?
No.
So the movements are increasing circulation. So the intensity level is not the same as a normal yoga class, but there are more movements that circulate blood for your heart. So even just doing the spinal movements, I get so hot and warm, but my heart rate stays low. So it's the body doing the pumping of the blood for the heart. So you're taking pressure and stress off of the heart.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, because the whole idea behind a lot of these movements are that you don't want your heart rate to pick up when you're doing yoga. You want your heart rate to stay low, but you want to improve your circulation. So you're using the musculoskeletal system and movements to circulate the blood for you, basically.
Okay, yeah. And when I was thinking when your hands are in that slow motion over your head, you're getting blood coming back really quickly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next time I'm with you, I think you know, number 3, I want to do everything very right. You know, I want to be successful to get my hands. It feels like they're kind of not exactly knowing what to do, like which way to go first kind of thing. So I want
We
to
can
clear.
go over it in person.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just want to.
Yeah, it's definitely, sometimes I do think some of the movements are harder to pick up through the screen.
Yeah.
And like there are a lot of just like details that I find are very easy within the body, but it took me seeing it and like experiencing it before I kind of knew where to take it. So we can go over some of
Yeah.
the movements so it's a little more intuitive for your body.
Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here.
Well, you're so
And
welcome. And what Sunday is the next one?
yeah, Sunday.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And I hope you have a really nice day. What are you doing?
Well, so today I thought I was teaching at Flowtown, but it's actually next Wednesday. So
Oh,
I'm going to use the cooler weather to get my beds ready for my squash and my back. So I'm going to do a lot of gardening today.
oh, wonderful. Well, have a happy
Yeah.
day.
Thank you. You too. Have a
Okay,
good one.
all right. Bye-bye.
Bye.